join in singing our gathering hymn, Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing. Good morning and welcome everyone to worship at First Unitarian Church in Portland, Oregon. Our mission here is to nurture the individual spirit and together work toward beloved community. After the service, you are invited to join fellow congregants for a virtual social hour. You'll see a QR code appear on your screen that will take you directly there. And we want to make sure that everyone has heard the news that we will soon be offering in-person worship in addition to this virtual live stream. Starting on Sunday, November 7th at 11 a.m., we will welcome congregants back into this sanctuary with some necessary safety precautions for our regular worship. Please read Reverend Bill's recent piece in our Staying Connected blog for more details. I also want to extend a special invitation to you all to join me next Sunday at Mount Tabor at 3 p.m. to celebrate Samhain, which you may know as All Souls or All Hallows Eve. This age-old pagan New Year celebration celebrates the time when the veil between this world and the next is thinnest, as nature begins to die back for the winter. We will spend the afternoon together, enjoying each other's company and the beauty of the space through crafting, discussion, and ritual. Advanced registration is required, and we have about 10 spots left, so please visit the events registration page on our website if you would like to attend. And with the holiday season just around the corner, now is the time to order your holiday greens from our alliance. You can order and have things shipped to you or pick them up at the church in early December. See your weekly e-news for more information. And now for a word from our nominating committee. The nominating committee has begun its annual search for new board and nominating committee members to replace those who are retiring. It is the committee's job to find candidates and propose them to the congregation for election next spring. If you know someone or you are someone who would be a good candidate for one of these roles, please send a name and a couple of sentences about why this person qualifies in an email to the nominating committee. You can find that information on our weekly e-news and on the church website. Candidate suggestion names are needed by Wednesday, November 10th. And without further ado, this morning it is my pleasure to introduce our guest preacher. The Reverend Sean Parker Dennison serves as the minister of the Rogue Valley UU Fellowship in Ashland, Oregon, and has served congregations from Illinois to Utah to California. Reverend Sean has also served Unitarian Universalism in a variety of ways, including serving on committees for the UUA and the UU Ministers Association. He is a graduate of Starr King School for the Ministry and has served on the school's Board of Trustees. Reverend Sean also co-founded Transgender Religious Professional UUs Together, also known as TRUUsT. It's a support and advocacy group for transgender and non-binary UU religious leaders. Welcome, Sean. We are so glad to have you with us this morning. And once again, welcome everyone.
Much will be written someday as we look back on this time in history, and that will be true for our church as well. They didn't meet in person for a year and a half. The church facility more or less sat empty for all that time, save for broadcast of Sunday services and just a few other uses. How did the church manage, and how did the church survive? There have been many losses in this time, more I expect than we may ever know. But there have also been some blessings, I think, including the ways that our sense of church has grown. Let me give you a couple examples. I recall a few months into COVID, I did a new member orientation. I recall there were about 10 boxes on that Zoom screen, and of those 10, one couple was from Seattle, another from Minnesota, and one person joined us from Hawaii. That was an early sign that church as we knew it was different and was going to continue to be different. A few months later, our seminary for a day, now online, had more people attend than had ever attended before in person, and they came from all over North America. And that has continued to be true for some of our classes for adults as well. A few months into COVID, Reverend Bill asked what data we could gather on our online viewership, which was huge in those early days of the pandemic. We couldn't know the names of people tuning in, just where it was they were coming from. And the results were a little surprising. Someone in Singapore, someone in South America, a few places in Europe, and from almost 30 states outside of Oregon. Wow, again, my sense of church was a whole lot bigger. I learned through the grapevine that I had some fans who lived in South Carolina who especially tried to tune in on Sundays when I was preaching. One more thing that I could not have imagined before the days of COVID. This has all been a sign of hope for me in these times when hope has sometimes been hard to find. Some tangible indicators of what we've been calling the emerging church, that church that is becoming. Now, we were talking about that in the days before COVID, but the idea seems kind of supercharged now. It comes with concerns about what may be lost in this time, but also has its share of possibility too. I'd like to share a short video of what this looks like in real life. Meet Ruby Tidwell, who lives here in Portland, and her mom, Vicki Linter, who lives in Hawaii, and how this church is now one of the things that they have come to share together.
Hey Ruby, good morning. It's a beautiful rainy day here in Hawaii. Hey, Ma. Good afternoon over here in Portland. How's it going?
Good, good. I just finished live streaming the church service. It was really good this morning. Got to see more of our new intern. And did you know there's like over 25 states, people in 25 different states watching the service now?
Wow, really? How incredible to have that reach and ways to get involved, like when me and you took the abolition class together on Zoom.
I know, that was so awesome, getting to see you every week and learning so much that I can use here in my community.
Yeah, what a great way to support the church and also invest in each of our local communities from all over the place.
Yeah, I feel like every month when I give to the church or every year when I give to the church, I'm not just giving to Portland, Oregon. My reach is spreading farther and farther. I'm giving to all these other communities as well.
Building the beloved community all around the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Vicki. Thank you, Ruby. And so as we all join in this new day and in our support of this church, I'd like to bring a couple messages. One, if you are someone who has found us in this time, and especially if you live outside of the Portland area, I hope you will make a financial gift to First Unitarian. I hope you'll consider an annual commitment. But if that isn't right, please consider a one-time gift. It is just the right thing to do. This is how this emerging church and this emerging ministry will be sustained. But I would also ask those who have been supporting this church for a while, maybe even for a long time, and no matter where it is you live, to consider this as one more reason to give, or even to increase your giving. And there's no time like the present. Give today. Together, all of us can make this happen. Lately, I found myself thinking about just what the beloved community really does look like. This view is something now that's become kind of three-dimensional. Right here with those most involved and connected, but the larger circles of community and the larger circles of accountability that are around us. And then it spins into something even more global. People in places we can hardly even imagine. All of us together doing the work of justice, doing the work of love. I hope you will join me in that church that is becoming. Join me as we meet this new day.
Hope is my philosophy, just needs days in which to be. Love of life means hope for me, born on a new day. You are the new day.
Carter is going to light the chalice on our chancel this morning, and I invite you to join, if you have a candle or a chalice at home, to do that now. We are Unitarian Universalists. We light this chalice in faith, in hope, and in love.
I'm building me a home. I'm building me a home. soon decay, and my soul gotta have somewhere to stay. When you hear me moaning, I'm building me a home. When you hear me moaning, I'm building me a home. When you hear me praying, I'm building me a home. When you hear me praying, I'm building me a home. This earthly house is gonna soon decay, and my soul gotta have somewhere to stay. When you hear me shouting, I'm building me a home. When you hear me shouting, I'm building me a home. This earthly house is gonna soon decay, and my soul gotta have somewhere to stay. When you hear me moaning, I'm building me a home. When you hear me praying, I'm building me a home. When you hear me shouting, I'm building me a home. This earthly house is gonna soon decay, and my soul gotta have somewhere to stay. I'm building me a home. 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 When you hear me shouting, 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 Lord.
Words of James Baldwin. Be careful what you set your heart upon, for it will surely be yours. Friends, we gather on this Sabbath day to remind ourselves what it is we might set our hearts upon as we strive once again to make manifest love in our world. Come now and let us worship together. Please join as we sing together, Busca el Amor.
Dedica tu corazón para hallar el amor en un rincón. Pero busca el amor, mi paz de mi pasión. Señor, cuando cambia color del corazón y te estalla la flor, un pedador del sol del amor. Buscas el otro bien, busca el amor en ti, se multiplica si lo repartís. Busca el amor en ti, solo te ama, puedes ser feliz. Locate the love in you, it multiplies whenever it is shared. Locate the love in you, happiness only comes to those who care. Busca el amor en ti, en ti. Busca el amor en ti, se multiplica si lo repartís. Busca el amor en ti, solo te ama, puedes ser feliz. Locate the love in you, it multiplies whenever it is shared. Locate the love in you, happiness only comes to those who care. Busca el amor en ti, en ti.
Please join now in our responsive reading. It is by Alan Patton entitled Prayer. O love, open my eyes that I may see the needs of others. Open my ears that I may hear their cries. Open my heart that they can not be without comfort. Let me not be afraid to defend the weak because of the anger of the strong, nor afraid to defend the poor because of the anger of the rich. Show me where love and hope and faith are needed, and use me to bring them to those places. And so open my eyes and my ears that I may this coming day be able to do some work of peace for you. Let's sing our doxology now, Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind lies in the sea. Move in the hand, give healing life the shape of justice. Whose holy cross wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
This church year, our shared offerings lifts up climate justice initiatives that move us toward a just transition away from fossil fuels. For the month of October, we share our plate with Honor the Earth, a Native organization that provides financial and organizing support to Native environmental initiatives. Honor the Earth, headed by Winona LeDuc, has worked closely with other women-led Indigenous groups fighting to stop Line 3 tar sands oil pipeline. Line 3 is owned by Enbridge and is a clear danger to our climate, water, and land, and would undermine the indigenous treaty rights of the Anishinaabe people of northern Minnesota. Enbridge's route crosses the 1854 and 1855 treaty territory where Anishinaabe people retain the right to hunt, fish, gather medicines, and harvest wild rice. Line 3 would also cross over 200 lakes and rivers, including the Mississippi River and rivers that feed directly into Lake Superior, putting those waterways and native lands at risk of a spill from the 760,000 barrels of tar sands oil that would flow through Line 3 every day. Honor the Earth creates awareness and support to Native environmental issues like Stop Line 3 and develops needed financial and political resources for the survival of sustainable Native communities. To give your offering this morning, you can follow the QR code that is on your screen or click the Donate Now button in Boxcast. We are grateful for your generosity.
Each week as we gather, we make a space to name the concerns of our community life together. Reminder, you can send prayer requests to be held by our ministers and our lay ministers to prayer@firstunitarianportland.org. And if you have an intention you would like named here in this space, you can send it to parishconcerns@firstunitarianportland.org. Member Tom Alexander died on Monday at the age of 79. Tom lived with Alzheimer's disease in his last years. A memorial is scheduled for Tom next Saturday, October the 30th at 1 o'clock in our Elliott Chapel. His service will also be live streamed. This morning we hold his wife, Laura Rogers, in our prayers. And next Sunday, October 31st, we will have our annual All Souls Litany, when we will name and remember those in our community who have died in the last year. If you have a loved one who has died since November 1st of 2020, and you would like them included in that annual litany, please submit their name, including pronunciation, to remembrance@firstunitarianportland.org. And we need those names by tomorrow. Remembrance@firstunitarianportland.org, and please send them in by tomorrow. And now will you pray with me? Spirit of life and of love, God of many names and of no name, be with us this day. We come, Spirit, on this autumn day. We come amid storm and rain. We come striving to make sense of our blustery, windy world. Hold us in your steady mercy as we find our way. The falling leaves of this season remind us, Spirit, of the great cycles of life, how one season follows another, how the brilliance of summer gives way to the short days and dark nights of winter, with the beauty of these autumn days offering a kind of bridge to help us along the way. And so it is in our lives as we make our way from one season to another, amid all the transitions life brings us, some welcome, some that come all too abruptly, all part of some great mystery we may never fully know. Through it all, may we be surrounded by friends on the journey. May we know moments of grace, moments of joy, moments of clarity. And even when we would despair, remind us, Spirit, that we never journey alone. May we be courageous in our living. May we do what we can to make love real around us. And may we never forget that we are part of that love in all our days, amid sunshine and rain, amid the storms too, as we know, as we cherish all that is our life. Amen. Let's keep silence now for a time together. Please join as we sing together, "This Old World."
children of one family, one in kinship is our view. If you cherish one another, love and friendship come to you. This old world can be a garden, full of fragrance, full of grace. If we love our neighbors truly, we must meet them face to face. It said, now love thy neighbor, and we know well that is true. This the sum of human labor, true for me as well as you.
Our reading today is It Matters Most What We Love by Reverend Alice Blair Wesley. The worship or spiritual practice of a free congregation is best understood as the deliberate return of a faithful and loyal community of people who come together again and again to be receptive to all that is worthy of renewed love. We come to church to be reminded of, stirred up to recall, and brought to feel again the charm of all that we love and cherish most. For when I am full of love and gratitude, how much pettiness, how much useless worry just slides to the periphery where it belongs. When my attention is focused on what I love, for which I am grateful, I begin to feel I am more truly myself, the person I am meant to be. 3 vital elements are always present in a strong, healthy, effective, free, and liberal church. First, always first, is love for what is worthy of love. The members love one another, and the congregation sings gratitude and praise for all that has made worthy realities possible, whether they name the source of blessings God or not. Second, and always a very close second, is hard thinking and careful reasoning and deep reflection on what love requires. Third, after love and thought is resolve to do out of love what members discern to be right and good. What follows from a free congregation's faithful practice of love? The result is a life-enhancing influence on all who the members' lives touch. And there resides the free and liberal church's power of attraction. Such a church draws in people wanting to live as human beings are designed to live, with the integrity of genuine and right loves, with thoughtfulness and mind and intelligence, and with resolve. Before I begin, I just want to say thank you for having me here to share this service with you. It's an honor. I also want to thank you for the support of your congregation when my congregation, the Rogue Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship in Ashland, Oregon, faced the devastation of the Alameda fires just over a year ago. It meant so much to us that you reached out with care and support through the offering you took for us. 10 families in our congregations lost their homes in that fire. Because of the generosity shown by you and others, we were able to meet their immediate and long-term needs, as well as those of others in the area. Thank you so very much. What is there to be said about love that hasn't already been said? For much of my life, actually, the skeptic in me had the upper hand on the topic, and I would tell people, I don't believe in love. What I meant, looking back at it now, is that I didn't believe in the love that's paraded through our culture as some sort of romantic ideal. You know, the love that is used to sell diamonds and cars and wine and deodorant and toothpaste and, well, almost everything. It wasn't that I didn't believe romantic love exists. Of course, I'd seen and even felt that kind of connection. The rush of chemistry, the way one's heart beats fast just thinking of that one special person, the day-to-day wonder and work of commitment. I believed in love. I just didn't think it was worthy of the kind of adoration, even idolatry, it's given in our culture. Romantic love, or even love as a good feeling, as my colleague Reverend Rob Hardy's puts it, is real, and it can be a good thing. But to my mind, it's not sufficient. I guess it's in my nature. I am the kind of person, after all, who is drawn to ministry, to long for something more than love as a good feeling. Something more like what Reverend Alice Blair Wesley talked about in our reading. As a scholar and historian of Unitarianism and Universalism, she has studied the practice of covenant, both historically and contemporaneously in our tradition, and her description of love as an action that matters deeply if we are to create healthy communities that can make a real difference in the world. That's the kind of love I hope for. For me, that love is not a noun, a person, a place, or a thing, and it's not an object or commodity or something that can be possessed, but it's love as a process and a possibility. I think we Unitarian Universalists need to fight the diminishment of love as a good feeling. Love as a good feeling can be the start of our love and care for the world, and certainly it will come and it will refresh us over and over again as the feeling returns and renews us. But we all know from our experience that we are called to love when it doesn't feel good. We are called to love when it feels lousy. We are called to love when it feels like a duty, not a joy, when it feels painful even. And that love is sustained only when we as a community together learn how to love better. That's a love I'm drawn to believe in, one worthy of a month of Sundays to explore and learn about together. What does it mean to believe in a love that takes discipline, cultivation, and practice? A love that calls us to care for the world even when it feels hard or exhausting or even impossible. A love that is created and sustained in community, especially communities like the ones Reverend Alice Blair Wesley described. Love as a process, a source of energy and inspiration, but also deep reflection on what is required of us, and an even deeper resolve to let love move us to action. This is a love that our Universalist forebears knew, a love so strong and sure it could be relied upon, a love that would not let us go, a love that inspired them to name their congregations All Souls, because they truly, deeply believed that somehow this love would find a way to save everyone. They didn't need to know how or when. They just relied upon the strength and possibility of love and got down to the business of building a better world, a world that reflected the presence of this amazing and powerful love. I have to admit that I've sometimes resisted even preaching about this stronger, bolder, more faithful kind of love. I guess I was embarrassed to admit that I really do think love is what? Love is the answer? Well, yes, as trite as that's been made to sound, if all of us came to understand that love is something more than a feeling, something more than a noun, a process that calls us, every one of us, to invest the best part of ourselves in the work of creating and maintaining healthy relationships at all levels, from the most intimate to relations among nations, we would truly be on the path to saving the world. Some people have the idea that Unitarian Universalism is an easy religion because we don't ask our members to live on faith alone or to affirm doctrine they don't understand, or because we don't enforce strict codes of behavior and preach damnation for sin. People think Unitarian Universalism doesn't ask much of people. I think they're wrong. At its best, this is a very demanding faith. It asks us to believe that it matters that we love, and it matters what we love. Unitarian Universalism is, to me, a faith that gives us tools and then expects us to use them to build together a home for love. To do that, we have to be present to ourselves and to each other with perseverance, patience, and understanding. We have to learn to listen and to grapple with figuring out what is truly worthy of our love, because what we love will be what matters to us. And like the deeper truth hidden in fairy tales, what we love is what we ultimately become. Our faith asks us to become worthy partners to love, a love so big it can save souls, a love that doesn't always feel good, but that we know is guiding us towards justice and peace and reconciliation that matters. A love that is always possible if we invest in the process of making space for it in and among us. At its best, Unitarian Universalism asks us to promise ourselves and one another that we will search for love, even when we don't know how or when or if we will find it. Love is always a possibility, but only a possibility until we engage in the process that makes it a reality. The possibility of love, the promise, if you will, is an extravagant one. This love says it's possible that we are loved, each of us and every one of us, by a love that will never let us go. This radical, expansive, stubborn love is not something we have to earn or prove ourselves worthy of. There is no one who is not already loved, already counted among the beloved, already cherished as a precious member of the human family and a child of God. Universalism assures us, each of us, that we are already worthy of love and already beloved. Even when we fail, love only asks that we notice, make amends, forgive ourselves and each other, and begin again. Love will never let us go. Our universalism calls us to another, even more radical possibility of love. The universalism in our name reminds us that a love this strong and complete can bring about change in anyone, even people we would like to give up on. This love compels us to continue to unlearn the ways that we have been taught that any person or group of people is unworthy of love or dignity or respect. The infinite, amazing, and almost unbelievable love that is part of our name and our theology asks us to not only believe in the possibility of love, but make it our practice for everyone right now, and to do the work of unlearning anything that would get in our way of knowing that everyone is beloved. For Universalists in earlier times, this practice was described in the language of theology, to begin to create heaven on earth, right here, right now, to build a home for love and be dissatisfied with anything less than that, anything that leaves room for inequality, injustice, or suffering. To take courage and empower ourselves by connecting in mind, heart, and community with each other and with the universal, all-encompassing, and extravagant possibilities of love. I can say now that I'm a believer in love, even if, because it's human beings doing the loving, that love is imperfect. I have come to believe in love that gets angry at injustice, that weeps at destruction, that laughs in delight and notices beauty. I believe in love when love is sweeping the steps, or weeding the flower beds, or tracking expenditures and asking us to give in order to sustain the community that helps us learn to love. I believe in love and in its power to heal, its insistence that we act, and its mysterious ability to find us when we're lost and save us. I believe that while we may sometimes fail, love never fails. I believe that our congregations, if we are faithful to the call of love, will indeed transform us and the world. May it be so. May we be the ones that make it so. Will you pray with me? Spirit of life and love, promise and possibility, we long to be a people who build a home for love in our lives and in this world. We pray for the courage to love what matters and to courageously engage in the process of loving well. We hope that more and more of us will commit ourselves to the power of love and give ourselves to the possibility that together we can embody love that holds, nourishes, protects, and sustains us all. No exceptions. May we be a home for love that extravagant and built firmly on the foundation of justice. Amen. Ashe, and blessed be. Will you now join me in the hymn, We'll Understand It Better by and by.
Often tossed and
friends, go into the world and build as many homes for love as you can. Let every day be a shrine to love's possibility. Every hour an altar dedicated to love's purpose. Every moment a temple where love can live in you and in the world. This is the heart of our faith and the task before us. This is the day we've been given. Let us rejoice in it and be glad. Go in peace. Practice love. Amen.